Hello, we are Daddy's Girls. There's two of us this evening. We don't have the intro or the outro, but we're gonna make this work. Our wonderful dear sister, Dr. Lisa T. Lewis, could not make it this evening, but she's here in spirit. She is the blueprint. We help you design your life's vision and goals one episode at a time. We have the incomparable Ada Sanchez. She can be reached. She is an author, speaker, and coach. She can be reached at I am Ada Sanchez on Facebook, IG, and Twitter. Also at info at IamAdaSanchez.com. And myself, Jacqueline Thorne. I am a speaker and author, and I can be reached at Lady J Thorne on Facebook, IG, Twitter. We have to update that. We just spoke about that. Or ladyjthorne.com. So, welcome this evening. Our topic tonight is transition pain, pains of transitioning. So, we are not therapists. We're not licensed therapists or any of that, but we are proponents of self-care. Welcome. I see some people have joined, so thank you. And we were talking just before we came in, and we're feeling our way, right? Without our sister here. She usually does the background, all the graphics and everything. So please bear with us and thank you for joining. Ada and I were talking just before we came in, and I was introduced to a new term. The term is complex trauma. So we were talking about, let me see if I can share this graphic. And Ada, thank you so much for joining. I know you've had a day.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's not it. Okay, pull it up. Okay, then you share. Okay, I'm gonna get it. Okay. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Here we go. All right, I hope you can see that. Can somebody type in comments if you could? I know sometimes when you join on the phone, I hear all the time that I was on, but I couldn't make any comments. It's a smaller screen. When you're on YouTube, Facebook, I cannot see any comments whatsoever. But so this is a symptom wheel, and we'll speak to some of these symptoms. But Ada, have you heard of complex trauma, or were you familiar with it? And can you share some of your knowledge about this? This is
I don't have firsthand knowledge. I've never heard that term.
okay.
However, I have seen a wheel before, and I don't know exactly what they called it, but it had different symptoms. This one is really, really huge. It has a lot of stuff on here, and this is really good because I can see, things that I've experienced in my journey. And it's good to just be aware, as Jacqueline stated, we're not licensed in this area. We're not psychologists or, any professional in this area. But as we journey along in self care and we get information, we like to share it just to bring and shed light into it so that you're aware. Sometimes you may be feeling some kind of way and don't know why you're feeling that way. So you may see something on here that resonates with you, and based on whatever it is that you are going through, you could probably relate and understand why these things come up. So they're calling it a symptom of PTSD. So there's a lot of symptoms, again, as I stated. And, as she mentioned, the pain, pain is like almost like giving birth, like when you're in labor and you're giving birth and you feel those labor pains. So the same goes with going through PTSD and the journey, your journey of whatever pain that you have experienced, relationships or whatever it is. And so it's almost like now you even feel the pain now because now you're going through the birth canal to birth your new vision, your new you. And so, I just want to thank Jacqueline for bringing this to us today, because I like the way it's mapped out, and we can go through the individual symptoms and even just look them up, Google them, and see how it relates to us. I took a picture of it myself so I can go through it and kind of dissect it for my
Yeah,
personal needs.
yeah,
Yeah.
try to get you a good sample. I'll try to put up a cleaner version, and I'll maybe put up a post separately and post it
Hmm.
to the page, my page, so we can see it. So I'm just gonna give the definition that I found for complex PTSD.
Jacqueline, I'm sorry. There's a button right beneath the diagram, a plus. You think that will
I
increase it?
tried to click it, and it's not. Oh, you know what? Let me go here. Up.
There it is. That's it. And maybe
Okay,
if
let me come back
the
some more. I have
the
to go.
window, does the window open bigger, larger than it is? No.
It does if I mean I haven't quite figured it out yet, but if I close out my face or your face, then
Okay,
okay, let
because
me
down at the bottom, okay, I just increased my window. Down on the lower right hand, there's like a square,
ah,
but it's not a
here we
complete. I
go.
clicked that and it expanded the whole page, the
Okay,
whole
right
screen.
now, I wish we had some feedback from the audience. Right now, it's the whole screen.
Yes,
I've magnified it.
yes.
But meanwhile, I'll read the definition as well, and maybe you could take a screenshot. So, either complex PTSD or PTSD may occur in response to trauma, and they have various symptoms in common. Complex PTSD is caused by ongoing trauma, which lasts for months or years. While PTSD may be caused by a single traumatic event, the symptoms of complex PTSD or CPTSD are also more complex and they may take longer to treat. Um, then I saw four defense mechanisms of that responses that develop out of childhood trauma and CPSD, and that's we've heard this before: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Um, and that's according to Peter Walker. So yeah, some of these areas, hopefully you can see them. We have often isolated, disassociation, compulsive behavior, avoidance. I'm just kind of hopping around the left side. Physical symptoms, tightness, chronic pain. Um, is it somatic symptoms? Um, Meaninglessness, belief systems affected, shame and guilt, loss of belief. So you can see some of these are some things that you may have a piece of. And I thought a good description I also saw was that and I just had a conversation tonight with my cousin about resolving things with people who are no longer here, right? Or can you heal when you don't have resolution? And I myself have experienced that at least two times in my life, with my father and with a significant other. They both are deceased, and although I did make amends with my father before he passed, and I wrote about that in Journey to Greatness. I did hold his hand until his last breath, and I did, make amends with him. There was still some unpacking and things I had to do, and some mechanisms that I've used that were recommended to me, by my spiritual guidance, pastors, friends, counselors, and they run the gamut. So I would, I can share some of those later. But again, certain things like I'll use this, like, you might have heard before, like to talk to an empty chair, right? Or to write a letter and to do these things. You're not going to get the answers or the feedback. There's the only way to get that. But then I recommend, going to God for those answers or to fulfill that void. There's just certain things that you're not going to get an answer to, but that doesn't mean that you can't unpack the things that have affected you. And it's a journey, right? It's not overnight, It might take different therapists, like the therapists that I talk to right now, and the doctors that I talk to not right now are not doctors that I had or confided in years ago at a different part of my journey, right? I had a totally different, it was, for a certain period of time. So it's healthy, right? It's just like having a GYN and then your GI doctor and your the heart doctor and different things or different areas or different specialties or different types, psychologist versus psychology, or a therapist versus psychology. One has a doctorate, one can write prescriptions, one can't. There's a gamut. So, just know that there is a lot of help out there. We've offered free numbers or contacts or websites that you can go to. But I thought this was informational, right? It's new to me, a term that's new to me, and so just sharing it, I thought was a good practice. While we are proponents of self care and educating yourself on things that may impact you, right? We're real women, real midlife, real talk, and the more information that we can share and give you, the better that you're going to be, right? So I just thought this was a good topic to share, or topics in terms of things how you might be affected and not even know that these are your triggers, right? If you start from the middle and then you go into the second, it's not a circle. Is this a hectagon? Let me go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Octagon, right? I think it was very informative, definitely.
Right. So each octagon gives you 3 symptoms.
Right. Right. Yeah. Intrusive memories and re-experiencing. I thought that was interesting. Nightmares, flashback, and traumatic reenactment. Yeah, it's sort of like the domino. They build upon each other, and untreated, just like a physical ailment, right? If it's untreated, then it spreads, right? Or it gets worse, or your symptoms, they're linked to other symptoms. And if they layer on top of each other, then you have complex, right? You're not just dealing with one trauma, multiple traumas. You need help, some assistance, some guidance, some help, some prayer, all of that, right? So I'm hoping that this is helpful for somebody. Yeah, memory, attention problems. And I heard this from a broadcast or a recording or a post that Ricky Smiley, comedian, producer, actor, radio host, Ricky Smiley. You should be familiar with him, but if you're not, he's experienced a lot of trauma. He just recently lost, I think Brandon was his oldest son. And he's been very busy trying to make sure that he's there for everybody else, even strangers, right? He's not really dealt with his grief and his loss, and he's just starting therapy. And he mentioned that he was advised today, at the time that I saw it, on his therapist, complex trauma. He has to unpack a lot. So for him, it's helpful to record himself speaking about it, because he mentioned that he's not a good, his penmanship is not good or something like that, and he doesn't want to transcribe those things. And so for him, it helps him to make these videos so he can see his growth or see, how he's affected. So I'm appreciative to learn about a new term, and these symptoms are very helpful, and hopefully it's helpful, again, on your journey. I know it's going to be helpful for me. I'm going to ask about some of these things. The next time I have a session with a therapist, I'm going to, ask about some of these things that you bury, you don't even remember, right? Because you
Mm-hmm.
tuck it away, right? So yeah, your emotions are so much. And so I say pain or transition because we were talking the last couple of episodes about breaking, right? About breaking down, and how, the muscle or the emotions or your mind, right? Or progress, sometimes you have to break, right? And we're sort of built to be strong, tough it out, all of that, all of those advice that you typically get. But like you've heard before, growing pains, right? When we're growing,
Mm-hmm.
like, your grandchildren, right? Like, I know you have this wonderful side plug, shea butter. I'm gonna need some soon for the winter. But I know you told me about, you rubbing your babies with the shea butter, right? Rubbing their little joints and everything, and as they're growing, it's painful, right? So growth can be painful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just one of those things in life. It's the circle of life. It's when you grow, it's gonna be painful. You're gonna get aches and pains. It's not always gonna feel good, right? There's a term, adulting, right? Adulting is not always fun.
Right.
But it takes the breaking down of something sometimes, right? Or your valley experiences. I've heard. I know you've heard about, the valley versus the mountaintop experiences, and when you're in the valley, it's not just to be in pain. It's a place that you're being worked on, you're being reformed, right? We talk about the daddy download, where you're hearing, messages, and where you get your growth, right? Unfortunately, sometimes it's painful to grow, and we learn our most valuable lessons through pain. um, can you unpack that a little bit, Ada, about how painful it is sometimes? Does that resonate with you?
Mm, um, I'm gonna say, you know, I deal with it a little differently only because when I was going through it, it's almost like just getting downloads from daddy. And to be honest, even I just got a download one time. It's just so weird. But I actually told my husband, I said, we're not going to be together. We're not going to be together any longer. And I don't know if it's something I just spoke it, but I felt it in my spirit. So it's almost like when the divorce occurred, it was almost like my heart was prepared for it. Not that that's what I wanted, but it didn't come as a shock. So sometimes, you kind of you see red flags and you kind of dismiss the red flags, so you avoid dealing with certain things. But then as soon as something happens, you say, "Wow, wait a minute. Well, I was seeing these signs. You see certain things, but you ignore it." And so sometimes I guess it comes with maturity too, as you mature, that you're not in denial to the fact that you can relate to where you made a mistake, or where you fell off and didn't address something, and you just accepted it, almost like going along with it and hoping it would get better. So it's a tough question to answer because, well, I'm going to say that I deal with pain a little different because when I do go through it, I go to the word, I go to God. So if for some reason he always helps me to deal with it a lot better, that it doesn't cause me as much pain as if had I not gone to him. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? And just try to fix how I feel on my own. And there's a thing is when you're going through stuff, they say you should speak to as many people as you can during the day. Never isolate, because when you isolate yourself, you put yourself in a place where the enemy can play with your mind, because he targets your mind, your thoughts. And if he can isolate you, depending on just how, deep in the hurt a person is in, they can hurt themselves. And so it's so important to surround yourselves around people that will lift you up, people that won't condemn you or make you feel shameful of whatever has happened, but people who will encourage you.
Right.
And that's why it's so important, even if you join a community within a church or women, like this is a community right here, a community of people who understand and are not going to judge and make it, make you feel worse off than you may already feel. So it's so important to make sure that you're speaking to people, but don't speak to those that got your problem.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? You
Mm-hmm.
got to speak to
Yes.
someone that has your solution and that has been there and can speak from experience of what they've done, and just always encouraging you and let you know that you are victorious, you're a winner, that you will get through it no matter what it looks like. You have to always, by faith, believe this is just a season in my life. This is not, the end and all and be all. It's just a season. This too shall pass.
Yes.
And so, as long as you're around positivity, you can start, changing the way you think about the situation and changing your mindset and putting the word before your eyes. Trust me, I really can't. I can't recommend anything better than that,
Mm-hmm.
because I know what he's done for me. And when I tell you that the pain was not there like I thought it would be, it wasn't.
So
And
it was like a truth, right? Like you
yes.
felt it. It was a truth,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you have to be courageous to speak that, right? It's easy
Yes.
to keep on keeping on.
Yes. It's
For
like
what?
like it was just revealed to me, like wow. And for me, I had to share it. I said, he was like, oh no, I love you, and
Mhm.
and I'm just listening. Okay.
Right.
And it manifested. And so,
Hmm.
like I said, when things happened, it wasn't like I was distraught, because I had already felt it in the city of my soul that it was just not going to be. You
Right.
see, and so I just had to accept it. And you know what? Sometimes we make choices in life based on the vulnerability that we're
Yeah.
under, and we deal with things and we make choices that are not the best choices for us.
Right.
And sometimes when we're in a state where we are hurting, we attract people, hurt people, people that are
Yes.
hurt, right?
I said that to the hurt
Hurt
people,
people hurt
and they don't
people.
even know it. I think it's a subconscious. I was just talking about
Absolutely.
this earlier today. You know, I speak about that in recent communications with somebody, that I was the alien, right? That they didn't know how to receive me because they
Hmm.
had so much toxicity.
Hmm.
And when you have, I'm a woman of my word. If I say I'm going to do
Yes.
something, I
Yes.
do it.
That's
If I say I'm going to support you, I'm very generous in what and how I spend my time and what I put my efforts into.
mm-hmm.
And when you come across a spirit or a being or energy that does not know how to receive that, it does
Mm-hmm.
you might as well, just be another face, but
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
are not healed from that pain
Right.
of someone else, right? And
Right.
so they are hurt. They are hurt deeper than they even know, and
Mm-hmm.
you get blind.
Yes. And one thing I've learned, I never knew what a narcissist was, right?
Right.
And I truly believe that's what I was dealing with, right?
Mm.
And what I found out recently is that narcissists, they're weak. So they go for women who are
Yes.
strong. And if
Yes.
you're a strong woman, that's who they want,
Mm-hmm.
right? But at the end of the day, like I said, as you mature and you start seeing the flags and you start, you say, no, this is not what I'm putting up with, or what I'm more than this, I'm
Right.
worth more than this.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of like get yourself out of it. That would be the best thing to do,
Mm-hmm.
because they will try to manipulate and tell you everything they think you want to hear.
Right.
Meanwhile, they don't mean it, and so you have to be so careful that you don't get caught up in situations where you get weak for someone constantly trying to lie when you know what it is, and they're
Right.
trying to convince you that it's something else, that you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no one's crazy. So
Yeah.
it's really deep, but I thank God every day that he showed me, and he gave me the exit strategy. He really did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be bold enough to make that shift and not feel afraid that we have to start over or be alone
Right.
temporarily, or whatever the case may be. And you could be alone and not alone.
Right. Right.
You
You're
not
never alone.
lonely, never
Right.
lonely.
Right. Like
And
the footprints or the footprints in the sand.
exactly,
You're never
yes,
alone.
never
And
alone.
opposition will try to make you think that you're alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
never alone. All
Right.
every step, every effort, you
Mm-hmm.
have had some guidance. You've had some company.
Yes. and
You
and then
know,
too, there's times where there's two people, right? A couple, and you still feel lonely.
we
Because
talked about this.
yeah, because
I
there's
think
no
2 shows
alignment.
ago
There's no
about the engine
alignment
on
there.
loneliness. Right? You could be in a room full of people and still be
Yes,
alone, or with two people
absolutely, absolutely.
and feel alone. Right?
That's right.
So yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
is true. And
Mm-hmm.
you brought up some good points. I know recently for myself, personally, I'm walking in the forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I've come to know a new description, right? In terms of the forgiveness is for you, it's not for them,
That's
right?
right. That's
Because
right.
because you hear people say things, and
Mm-hmm.
there's these, oh, you should do this, or it's like, but you sometimes you don't know until you know. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a freedom in knowing. And so I am freeing myself by practicing forgiveness.
That is
Right.
key. That's what Daddy told us to do, right?
Hmm.
If you don't do nothing else, we gotta forgive, because he said if he could forgive us for all
Yes.
we've done, who
Yes.
do we think that we are,
Hmm.
trying to
Hmm.
hold unforgiveness towards someone else?
Yes. Yes.
So the best thing you can do is forgive that person, because
Right.
that's when you will feel total freedom,
Yes.
by forgiving them. When you don't forgive,
Hmm.
they've moved on, you've moved on, but you're holding that burden,
Yes.
right? It's like a burden, like a heavy
It's a
weight.
burden. And
Yeah.
it can turn into a sickness.
Yes, absolutely. That's how sicknesses come on us. The
Yes. Stress,
unforgiveness, because it's
unforgiveness.
cancerous, it's toxic.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so you have to just let it go. Let it
Hmm.
go, forgive, and move on. It doesn't make you a weak person because you forgive someone. You
Right.
just have to do it because it's the right thing to do for you, for
Yes.
me.
Absolutely. Those
And those are the things that a lot of times people are like, oh girl, I can never forgive that person. Well, you it's like almost being stuck,
right, or
right?
imprisoned. You
Yes.
imprisoning your
Yes.
thoughts, and you
Absolutely.
put yourself in isolation, and you
Yes.
stay stuck, you don't grow. And
That's
when you
right.
don't grow, you can't receive. So that's the
Right.
transitioning, the pain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I could hear Dr. Lisa saying, that's it right there. That's it right there. The transition, right? You
Yes.
are imprisoned. Stop imprisoning yourself.
That's
Right?
part
It's
of the
easier said
journey.
than done. Let bygones be bygones. It's going
Right.
to be okay by and by. But sometimes I guess you have to give yourself that time, like that pity party time or whatever. You have this amount of time, a day, a week, 2 days, but
Right. And
after
then
that,
get over it. You
it's
gotta
time
move. You
to
gotta
exit.
then you gotta just shake it off, shift, and move forward. And you
Yes,
just gotta let it go. It's like a hot potato. Gotta let it drop it, and I forgive
right,
them, and just move on.
right.
You don't stay, wallowing in that pity party, because it's not healthy at all. Not
Yes,
healthy.
yes. I
Mm-hmm.
also saw this week. I actually wrote it down to share it. When you get ready to shift the pain, some kind of trial is coming. Um, and for me, it was like a light bulb, like, so because we have an ebb and flow of some things, like you're wondering, why is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
Or, our tests that turn into testimony, right? We're on trial a whole lot and we don't even acknowledge it. But again, speaking back to that pain, that breaking, that evolving, that cocoon, that coming reveals the butterfly, right? I always kind of go to the butterfly, like the growing pains, to not. I think it comes a time, a maturity in life where you learn to stop running from the pain, right? Or the trial, or the test that's going to become the testimony, right? Because it's not a mistake that you keep on getting to the same spot again, or you're feeling something familiar, right?
Right.
That's when your discernment grows. Like,
Mm-hmm.
start feeling it, right? Like, you get a call or from somebody out of the blue, or somebody's on your mind, pick up the phone and call
Right.
them. It's massaging your muscle, like, or your spiritual muscle for discernment, that you don't like, oh, why is this happening to me? Like, don't run away from it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you could not handle it, it would not. I'm just hearing it. If you could not handle it, you wouldn't. It wouldn't be placed in your lap,
That's so
right?
true.
Possession. Like, it's
That's
not.
what it's pushing you towards your destiny.
Yes.
That's what it is. If we just embrace it and know that this is all part of the process. They say no pain, no gain, right?
Right.
We got to have pain to get
Mm,
something better, right? When
right.
we trying to get the body built up and getting those abs and doing it, we got to go through
Yes.
so much pain, right? To get that
Yes.
beautiful outer appearance, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
the same with our life and our purpose and our destiny. We got to go through some stuff to get to where we're supposed to be,
Yes.
because as long as we stay there, and it may feel good,
Mm.
everything that feel good is not good.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Everything that feel good, that's why we can't be, going by our senses, right?
Yeah.
What it
Mm-hmm.
look like, what it sounds
Yeah.
like, what he
Mm-hmm.
smell like. We
Yes.
can't go by those senses,
Yes.
right? How
Yes.
they talking it all. No, 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 no.
Mm.
It's bigger than that.
Yes.
And so a lot of times we can get caught up in those senses, and we're not to be governed by our senses,
Right. Right.
right? So that's so important.
It
Um,
is.
it doesn't feel right, it ain't right.
Mm.
Cause
Right.
right,
Everything, what
love
did
don't hurt.
Prophet said to me last week? Everything that's good comes, God provides everything that's good. If it feels good,
Mm-hmm.
it came from God. If you don't,
Mm-hmm.
if it's not feeling good, that's
Mm-hmm.
not, because God gives us gifts,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to give us burdens, right?
Right.
So, and it's those instances where you're supposed to draw nearer, right?
Right.
When you are not sure, when you're confused, when it's painful,
Mm-hmm.
that's your invitation
Hmm.
to growth, to
Yes.
daddy, to
Yes.
find out, like, there's certain things that you can learn vicariously,
Mm-hmm.
and there's other things that you just got to plain bump your head sometimes to
Right.
get the lesson. But those are invitations and the opportunities for you to grow closer, right? Some people get
Yes.
by reading, by hearing, by seeing, by doing. Those are opportunities. Don't turn away those opportunities, and they're also building blocks so that you can have your butterfly, like your wings can
Yes.
fly, so you can receive,
Yes.
it, right? You always giving it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
giving is receiving, and it does come back. Like it's not a sacrifice,
Right.
right? It feels like it at the time, but it is an opportunity to grow. I don't know the
I
shine.
was just
I don't know where that came
I
from.
was hearing surrender. It's a time of
Ah,
surrender. It's like you just got to throw your hands up and surrender to
yes,
him,
yes,
because in the surrendering is where your transformation begins.
right,
It's like the cocoon, right? So
yes,
you surrender now, you give it to God, and now you start taking heed to what he tells us to do. You start paying so much more close attention to those proverbs,
mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm,
that is nothing but the books of wisdom, boy,
yes,
and they speak truth. I
yes,
like I told my son, I said, if you just read a proverb a day along with
mm-hmm,
a psalm,
mm-hmm,
you'll be good.
yes, yes,
And those proverbs are the truth. I mean, the
mm-hmm,
whole book is the truth, but those proverbs, that's the book of wisdom, and it's going to show you how you're supposed to live.
right,
It even talks about friends
mm-hmm,
that we think friends, quote
friends,
unquote, right?
right,
And
right,
where they can lead you if you continue to follow.
mm-hmm,
It's just everything. Everything is in there, and it's just so profound. And listen,
hmm,
I believe God.
yes,
I'm a believer for real. He's made me a bona fide believer. I believe His word. It is true,
mm-hmm,
because we can go through this. Two people can go through the same thing, and
right,
one could be devastated, almost ready to take themselves out, and the other one is like, like they say, I don't have to look like what I've been through.
you know what?
But God.
Mm-hmm,
And that
mm-hmm.
is it. I keep pointing it back to him, because
That's
it's
so
not me.
beautiful.
It's not me. It's
Do you think
him.
that's why, we age better, right? Our cultures, we age
Absolutely.
better, right? We don't look like what we've been through. But look
Absolutely.
at the beauty and the glow and,
Absolutely.
the elasticity in our skin. And,
Mm-hmm.
again, we had somebody praying for us, had us on their minds
And
at
I
the
thank
time
God. Yes.
to pray for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before
Mm-hmm.
we were even thought about.
That's right.
Our
That's right.
ancestors, right?
Absolutely.
We are the dream of our ancestors, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've come up through a lot of pain, but we have a lot of pleasure. We have the most contributions to society and culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so much. So please, even we were talking about forgiveness. Forgive not other people, but forgive yourself also, right?
That's
Forgive
right.
yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Apologize to yourself,
That's
right?
right.
Apologize for not, giving yourself the benefit of the doubt or knowing that it's you. Like you are the change agent, right?
That's right.
That's why people are always drawn to you and what's going on and the light that shines. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot block out light. Light is going to find some way to peer out. So forgive
That's right.
yourself. Also, we all are growing and learning and glowing. We glowing up, right?
Yes.
We are
Thank
glowing
you, Daddy.
up. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I tell you.
Um,
Mm-mm-mm.
so this is something new that I want to add. Like, let's share some good news, right? Some good news of the week, something that has happened. So I'm going to start off. I put up a post yesterday that I graduated from physical therapy. after after about 25 sessions within 3 months, you have to know what to expect. Like, I have a good acupuncturist, and I didn't initially let her know what was going on at the time. Shout out to Grace if you're watching. If you need a recommendation in the DMV area, I have somebody for you. And along with her therapy, I remember her saying, well, let's hope and pray that you get a good physical therapist. And that can make all the difference, right? Having a good physical therapist was the difference between me surrendering to, the shots, or surrendering to surgery, because that was the path.
Mm-hmm.
This medicine and this medicine and this medicine and this medicine. And then if that doesn't work, then we're going to do epidural shots, and then we're going to do surgery. And I'm thankful again, like you started off saying, share and talk to as many people as possible. I had maybe one positive feedback or experience, and even from the physicians themselves, right? Nothing is guaranteed. And surgery on your back, it's your core. Talk about your core, right? It's not always successful, and sometimes it's worse. And then you have to go in and go in and go in. So I'm thankful and grateful for the prayers of so many that care and love, and had thought about me, and my name was on their mind. A lot. It was a lot of hard work, but it was also a lot of sitting down and doing nothing. And I was able to finish breaking, like I said before, finish breaking. And it did so much for my mental as well as my physical. So that's my good news. I'm doing more than I thought I was going to do. I'm yoga, I'm doing squats, I'm stretching, I'm thinking about stretch therapy, and I'm just, again, doing what I have to do. Is all a part of my self-care. And it just attacked me physically. So again, that's my good news, that I am continuing to heal and get better and better. So I'm thankful and grateful. All right, share your gospel, some good news.
Well, on that note, I'm going to continue piggyback off of that,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Because
yes.
God is good. Listen, I just told
Yes.
you I found my TENS unit.
Yes.
So I've been able to give myself some treatments on my back. And I
Yes.
went to the doctor 2 weeks ago. I follow up with him tomorrow. And I said, I don't know why this pain is still here. I said, you think it'll get better, or what is going on? So he says, well, you don't need surgery. I said,
That's
thank God,
good.
because they tried to give me surgery so many
Yes.
times, right?
Yes.
But I find that stretching is key. And as I mentioned, I have to find that good therapist.
Yes, a great therapist.
I have to.
We're gonna pray that you are matched up with the right therapist.
Because the one I used to go to, they shut down after COVID.
Mm.
And it's been very difficult to find one. And right now, as I sit in this chair, I have my massager. So as we speak, I'm getting my
Yes.
massage.
Yes.
So every little bit helps.
It does. I'm
Right?
glad you found a TENS unit, because I spent a lot of time on that TENS unit, moving
I
it to the
know.
different
Yes.
places. The heating pad, that was helpful as
Yes.
well. And it's what it's doing is dancing on that nerve, is helping challenge the nerve, right? Helping to
Right.
break the nerve so it can grow in that transition. So yeah, that's excellent. I'm glad that you found that TENS
So
unit.
I'm gonna go back to the image that I took the picture of, because we were talking about pain, right?
Yes.
And so that is a symptom, right? So sometimes you don't know why things happen, but that's a somatic symptom. Chronic pain and tightness, physical symptoms.
Yep, I'm gonna bring it back up again.
And so I'm saying, okay, could it be related to that? Because at the end of the day, I try to do what I can, but I could do better. I haven't been doing as much walking as I used to, and I need to get back into taking some walks, more daily walks,
Uh-huh.
because that definitely, like you were doing, right?
Mhm.
But
Yep, I'm
when
back on my walks,
and that's
um,
beautiful.
and I have company. I have a good girlfriend that doesn't live far from the park. Reached out to me
Mm-hmm.
today and asked me, we need to reconnect. Number one, get back on our fellowship of our happy hours and our brunches.
Mm.
But also, was I back walking? And I said yes. And it just turns out tomorrow is a good day. So we're going to meet tomorrow. And, I'm going to take it easy because she asked me, well, how far do you go and how long? I know my stats, I'm
Right.
20 mile. I said, oh, it's going to take 20 minutes per mile, 2 miles, about 45 minutes, 3 miles, about an hour. And I said, you know what? But we're going to go at your pace. I'm glad to have the company.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go
Mm-hmm.
at your pace. It's not a race. And I
That's
know
right.
the benefit of, of doing it and not timing it, if you will. I'm
Yes.
tracking it because I have a good tracker now. I used to have bad problems with reception, or Wi-Fi when I was in the park, but I found something that's good, and I can also listen to my music while it's measuring the distance that I go.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about putting in the time. So
Right.
um, I don't. I used to have to go in the morning, first thing in the morning. Now it's, is it too cold out? If I had some meetings, if I'm not teleworking, I can't always go. And now it's just as good. Like, okay, let me just get what I can get done in 45 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
that's about 2 miles. I'm good, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I go back to being appreciative, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember asking God, me asking God, no nobody else praying, God, please heal me. It's too soon. Like this, I'm this cane, I just is just too much. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that somebody might be watching that has chronic pain. Um and we're praying that is broken, or that you find some healing. But it just wouldn't do. This was not. I did not see this for my future. Like I was
Right.
I could not. I just was resistant. Like this, there has to be a way. So I asked God to please heal me. So I'm so glad that I was sat on down when I need to sit on down, that
Mm-hmm.
I pulled a Jacqueline, as Lisa said, and took off some time, and it was even, I even needed more time than I thought, right?
Right.
Thank God that he worked through my physicians also, and gave me the appropriate time that I needed to do what I had to do. Again, I'm very happy that you're on the path, that you have your heating pad, you found your TENS unit. Now I pulled up the graphic on the screen again. Did you find or did you see
Yeah,
in
I
the graphic?
see. I see it here. The somatic
Okay.
symptoms, and I just wanted to add that it's not. It doesn't always have to be related to PTSD. It could also be related to menopause, and as
Yes.
well as diet,
Yes.
because your diet, what you eat, and I don't know if you know about the blood types. There's certain foods according to your blood type.
I've heard about that, but I've not investigated.
Yeah, I
But
have the
definitely have
book
heard
from years ago actually,
it.
and
Hmm.
it's so good because it's so crazy. I'm not supposed to have turkey. I'm not supposed to have chicken.
I was just getting ready to say inflammation,
And
right? You
that's
talking
it.
about
Both of them are full of inflammation,
right, and that's
which
part of
causes pain,
yes, yes.
right? So
Hmm.
it's good to develop having more plant-based diet, just eating more greens and
Hmm.
just more natural stuff rather than eating all the stuff that has, the stuff that causes inflammation to our body. And it's good
Right.
to just look up an anti-inflammation diet.
Yes, I was talking to my aunt today, and we were talking about what is it, black seed oil, right? She's the one who turned me
Mm-hmm.
on the black seed oil a while
Mm-hmm.
ago. I have a cousin that works at a correctional facility in New York, and being around the prisoners and so many people all the time, was getting sick all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when he started taking black seed oil, he had less colds and all of that
Right.
stuff. And
Yeah.
I used to get seasonally September, around school time, leaves changing, all that temperature changing, I would get that transitional cold. And so I've been taking black seed oil, liquid gel pills, right? Because I don't like tasting something that I don't like, right? Any
Right.
bitter, like back in the day, the cod liver oil and the fish oil, all of that stuff. I don't want nothing like that. The only thing I can take directly is black elderberry syrup.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
tastes like jam, like Welch's jam to me. That's what it tastes like.
Yeah, I go through those bottles quick.
Yeah, but
But you know, the key is to constantly work on your immune system, which
yes,
is
that is
what you
the
have to
key.
do. This is the time, even before the season comes in, you start putting in those elderberries and
Right. And the
black seed
turmeric,
oil
I
and
prefer the turmeric.
ginger and
Right.
turmeric.
I
I make
prefer
my
it
teas and with your
um
honey and your
raw.
lemon.
Right. I know people take supplements and powders, but I'll just get the turmeric, peel it, put the black
That's
pepper
what I
on
do.
it, put the
Yes.
ginger, and put it in my smoothie. So I
Yeah.
don't even, know what it
Mm-hmm.
tastes like.
Mm-hmm.
I do my beets as well, the root vegetables,
Yes. Yes.
parsnips, all of
Yes.
those root vegetables are really good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
And that's it right there, because those vegetables will keep us healthy, will keep our
yes.
immune system built up. And a lot of
Mhm.
times, we don't have the proper nutrients in our bodies. So sometimes instead of eating food, we should just do like juicing all the good stuff, the vegetables, the fruits,
Yes.
everything. Just take a week to do all greens, take a week to do some
Yes.
fruits, and take a, like that, and just for at least 21 days minimum,
Yeah,
just
you have to
try
go back
to.
to the basics. I used to do that
Yes,
before I take like
yes.
I would start off doing a month of just vegetables, and then I
Mm-hmm.
would work in fish, and then I don't do a whole lot of beef anyway.
Right.
But chicken, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
it's what we know to go to, but
And
we
not
don't know
good for
what's being
us.
pumped in. And I heard
Mm-mm.
today my aunt was telling me that that they pump the antibiotics in the wings,
In
right?
the wing, the part that everybody loves.
Yes, everybody everybody loves the wing. So,
uh,
what
yeah.
you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Yeah, and then you wonder why most of our elders and everybody's been diagnosed with some diabetes, high blood pressure, this, that, and the other, because of the diet.
Yes.
It's so important. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't, a lot of times, like even now with the children, I've been having my son. So now he calls me, he says, Mom, what is that you told me to buy? Because I tell him, I don't feed them, the children, what you feed them.
Mhm.
When they
Mhm.
come here, my sons always say, Ma, you got all this stuff in your refrigerator, all this organic stuff. What is all of this? I said, well, this is what I give them. I
Yes.
give them their fruits. My little 2-year-old comes in here. He goes to the refrigerator and he goes,
Mhm.
I want blueberries. I want,
Oh,
yeah, he wants his blueberries, his strawberries, and every now and
yes.
then I give him a little treat. So I put a little whipped cream. So now he just like, I want whipped cream.
Oh goodness.
But
That's so
I tell
cute.
my son, and I cut up cucumbers. They eat the
Yes.
cucumbers by themselves, just
Shelves.
cucumbers. They love it. I tell
Mhm.
them, I say, you have to give them what they like. I've been
Yes.
giving them stuff so that they develop the taste buds for good stuff.
Mhm.
Because when you start giving them all that sugary stuff and you see them flying off the walls and doing all kinds, then you
Yes.
can't get mad at nobody but yourself,
Right.
because you're giving them sweet stuff, the sugar.
Mhm. Yes,
You
and you
know,
see it,
so
right? The breakouts and all of that. You know,
right,
um, um,
right.
what's it called? Unrefined sugar or sugar?
Yes,
You know, it's
yes,
just yeah. Everybody has
yeah,
their little thing. I mean, I have my little snacks that I like, and also too. But you know, there's a time for all of that.
yeah.
You know, and like
Well, my snacks, which I really, really, which is good for you. They say dark chocolate is good for you.
yeah, I do like dark chocolate.
I love dark chocolate, and I love almonds. And lately, I just been getting the dark chocolate almonds, covered almonds.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's good for you, but it's like once you start eating it, you can't stop.
Mm-hmm. Right. What
It's
that
like,
is.
oh, it's so good, it's so good,
Uh-huh.
it's so good. But yeah, so I just
In
try to be
moderation, in
mindful.
moderation. But yeah, you have to. There's something you can also find the equivalent of a healthy version of it, right? You know,
Right.
like if you are a
Mhm.
chocolate lover, right?
Mhm.
Like you make your way. Like somebody told me before, like with wine, they said everybody starts out something, but they make their way to red. like
Yeah.
like I guess that is true, but with like chocolate, right? If you like love chocolate, it's an acquired taste to get to the dark chocolate. It might not be as sweet, but it has better antioxidants, I believe.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, if it's not almond, like I'm allergic to almonds, maybe it's a cranberry or a chocolate covered cashew or whatever it is. You can find a better version of it, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to do your research. So, um, oh, we're coming up to an hour, Ada.
I was just sending you that.
Okay, I know, and you came on here exhausted. So I thank you. I honor you. I appreciate putting in the time.
Well,
I hope
I
that
always love when we share and we can get on here and share with our sisters and
yes,
brothers that come on from time to time, because
yes,
that's we need to have more of these sessions where we get together and we just talk.
yes,
Where there's a safe space, of course, you have to have a safe space, and you feel like you're getting something from it,
right,
that it's helping you to grow. That's so important. So we have to
absolutely,
we have to surround ourselves in those circles more and more, so that it can help us to grow in some areas, and not always be thinking about the things that overwhelm us, that are not so good for us.
right. That's true. And this is a commitment, right? We are committing
Yes.
to one of us being on here every week. I know we have always been consistent. We say life be life in, but this is purposeful, and I love
Yes.
the feedback that I receive, and that we all receive that this was helpful, and to keep on doing it. So we're going to keep on doing it. We're going to keep on growing. We're going to get better at it. We will eventually get in person.
Mhm.
And probably on in some exotic place um,
Yeah.
with Ada, the travel agent, guiding us along the way. But yeah, this has been great. Thank you for taking time. Thank you for watching the replay. Wherever you're watching this, you can catch this again. Please subscribe, like, and share on YouTube, and continue to catch us on Facebook or wherever you're watching this. We do appreciate you. We hope you have a blessed rest of your week. And until next time, have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.